Morning, everybody. It's the 9th of June. We are Signal Centre Talking Bull. I'm Joe Neighbour, joined by Steve O'Hare. Good morning, Steve.
Morning, mate. All right.
Yeah, not bad, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Very good. The sun is
Good.
shining.
It makes a big difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. Okay, let's get stuck straight in, shall we? Not a lot going on again on the old price action for certainly the markets that I've been covering. Steve, maybe a bit different for you. Certainly, I hope so anyway, just so we can talk about something. But just in terms of news, first up, so the US State Department has loosened its travel warnings for a series of countries around the world, which includes France and Germany. So that's a move that may ease the restrictions on airlines and people wanting to travel overseas. So obviously that's pretty good news. So that may be replicated elsewhere. Of course, there is still concerns about the Delta variant, which has become the dominant variant certainly in the UK. There are a number of hotspots, and obviously we are approaching a crunch decision as to whether or not the government can do this full unlocking of restrictions on the 21st of June. So we'll wait and see. I mean, I don't feel overly restricted now, to be honest. I mean, obviously it's certainly not what it was, but if we do keep these sort of levels of social distancing and bits and pieces in place, I think that's probably a sensible move, but we'll wait and see what they say. The US and Europe are also back to trying to investigate the origins of COVID-19. The pair are hoping to adopt a pledge at a summit later this month, and the move follows a call for China from the US and several other countries to be more transparent and allow greater access to the source. So we'll wait and see what happens from that. I don't think they'll ever really uncover it, to be totally honest, because I think it's been buried, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, they probably won't uncover it, but they'll probably sort of still blame someone. They'll still blame China for it, I'm sure. Call me cynical. Dr. Cynical.
Yes. Elsewhere, Bitcoin continues to come under a bit of pressure. We'll come onto the chart shortly. It does look like there's been a bit of a bounce in that, but Steve has been pretty much across all of that in recent weeks. So obviously keen to hear your view on that and where you're thinking next. Some strategies are suggesting more pain to come. $20,000 appears to be a number that's being touted as coming back into view. A number of warnings on technical breakdowns, which of course, as chart experts, we've been across. And there's also some concerns about crypto, particularly being asked for in a result of the Colonial Pipeline hack. That's a bit of cause for concern as well. So there's not much else to dive into on the news front, so I think we should get stuck straight into the charts. As usual, I cover FX. Steve pretty much covers most other bits and pieces. There's not enough for me to talk about on FX this morning, so I'm going to hand it over to you, Steve.
Yeah, okay. I'll just dive in with oil first. I've done a video this morning. It'll be available on LinkedIn later, just analysing crude oil, WTI crude oil, Brent crude oil, and natural gas. So just sort of picking up on natural gas. There's some good technical things to look at in there, so I'll cover them off, try and do it quickly, and then dive into gold and see what's going on in there.
It's a three-year high on oil, is that right?
Yes, that's so we're at levels now we haven't seen since October 2018. So yeah, and that's on the WTI side of things. So pretty good. I mean, from the reaction from the sort of $10 level that's on this chart, that's obviously at the same time that the physical oil or the spot crude oil went down to like negative $50 or whatever, because they didn't have enough place to store it. So we've reacted from here, and it's been pretty nice. That wave 1 and wave 3 of this impulsive move higher are pretty similar in size. Wave 5 should be the shortest. So in that respect, we're looking at really a top coming in around about the previous swing high of October 2018, 1st of October week, of 76.80. So we're getting closer and closer every time we speak about this. We've been talking about this for a few weeks now. We broke above this resistance range we had in place. On the weekly chart, it's at the moment it's posting a bit of a hanging man candle, but we've still got a few days to go, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that just yet. And also, I don't know if it'll show it the same on this chart. It's not. I've got different volumes on other charts. I've said, well, if you look, the volume really dropped off on the 31st of May, but it's picked up again. So it feels like volume is Not back to these levels that we saw maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, but it is sort of like starting to steady itself as we push higher. So that's a good sign, a positive sign. So really, nothing really in the way of resistance until that 76.80. So really just trying to find where the support is if we do get some sort of reversal in fortunes. And for me, this is the sort of support level. These are all support levels now. I'll change them to blue later, but this gives us an idea. 68.24. That's a couple of dollars lower than where we are now. That's where I would say support is. Also, I'll introduce my favorite, the Ichimoku Cloud, which will offer support just below there as well. If we go back even to, we will have support above that 68.73, which was a previous swing high, which now becomes a supportive area. So looking good on there. Brent crude oil, obviously that trades at premium, and to watch really here from the supportive side of things. Let's take this one out. That's an old one from way back. 70.45 looks like support, and however, we do have we should have another level of resistance on the Brent crude oil. Yes, where is it before the all-time highs? That's what I'm looking for. This daddy here. So the sort of corresponding level in Brent crude, as you can see, is way up here. This is the sort of like the 76.80 equivalent, comes in at 86.62. However, obviously this is a impulsive 5-wave move, and we're in the 5th and final wave. So 74.73, again, $250 higher. That could provide some resistance in the coming days or over the next week anyway. So that's a level to watch. Natural gas. I suppose I haven't really sort of like done the chart on here, but I will do it quickly. So you're getting live analysis live. So obviously, you know what happens when things go live, things can mess up. So let's see if it doesn't mess up. I'm sure it won't. So this is the sort of triangle formation that we're seeing this is on a daily chart on natural gas, and this is we saw the spike higher, and that equaled the 17th of May high, and that was yesterday. And then we formed a shooting star. So it looks like a little bit of rejection from this 320 area. So definitely something to watch now. And levels of support below coming in really well before this level, around about 304 to 305. We've got we can sort of take it from this level here, 304.60. There you go. That was a previous swing high. Now we'll turn into support, and below that we've got it coming in at 291. So yeah, really looking for what the reaction will be here. We've got the downward trending resistance and a horizontal resistance. So potential for a bit of a struggle if we do push higher. On the gold side of things, we're a little bit choppy. Again, this is a short-term, well, this is the daily chart. We had the double bottom, push higher, hit the measure move target. So this is an impulsive move higher. And it looks like we are in the third wave and maybe having a bit of a corrective move here. Excuse me. Support-wise, we saw the move down to 1855 the other day. Below that, we've got 1848 support, so that's good. And 1890 seems to be the little pivotal level that we're seeing, where prices are coming back, bouncing off. When they go through, they sort of react from there as well. But everything still seems, from the medium-term basis, pretty decent. The hanging man candle from last week is a little bit ominous for the short-term bulls, but overall, you know, still looking for this bullish flag to play out, you know, and $2,500 level in the coming months. Also, this head and shoulders formation could end up being a bit of a complex one, maybe, but we're struggling to really break above the Ichimoku cloud at the moment. You can see this is acting as quite a decent resistance. Really need to see a break of 1903 and a push higher above there before we tackle the 1916 level and then 1960 is the main resistance above there. That's the big resistance we're looking to break above, and below, as I say, 1890 should offer support. I'll quickly jump into indices before diving into cryptos. Really, FTSE, let's go on the daily chart and get a little bit of a snapshot. So last 3 days have been positive. Today has reversed those gains, and really we're looking at the bears will be trying to be taking out resistance at 70.37 on the FTSE. We have got obviously upward trending support, which comes in from the double bottom formation. We could take it, I'd like to take it at this level, so it's not far away, but it also, okay, we take out this spike here, but we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. So this is quite a decent upward trending support line to watch. Currently coming in where the horizontal support is as well. So for me, 70.37, break below there could be quite significant on the downside. So looking to retest there. Obviously, from a bullish point of view, you'd be looking to buy in front of that level with a tight stop below. On the DAX, we've got similar sort of price action. I'll redraw this to see if we can get, that looks pretty decent. We've got 3 points connecting, the first point and these 2 points here. So support again coming in. We've got horizontal support coming in there, and we've got upward trending support coming in at 15,286. So that's not bad. Looks a little bit toppy on the daily chart. Hanging man candles again, like we had on the weekly chart, but we're at new highs. So anything can happen. Just one to watch there. The Dow point of view on the daily chart, again, not looking fantastic, but it's maintaining these higher levels, and they're very hard to argue against. From the sort of like support levels, looking at 34,327, really need to break resistance at 34,855. Nasdaq, a doji day yesterday, indecision, and that came off the back of this resistance level that we saw at 13,906. So really nothing going on obviously this morning. We'll have to wait till this afternoon till this really opens up, but maybe potential for reversal there. Other indicators, obviously on the 4-hour chart, we've got a bearish outside candle, which is looking pretty ominous as well. So price action quite muted at the moment, and really looking for a potential to reverse lower. Support coming in with the cloud and the previous congestion area around about the 13,650 to 13,700 area. S&Ps, looking at a double top formation the other week, could actually have a triple top. We'd need a break of 4,166, so that's a fair chunk away at the moment. But even if we get really a break of 4,208 would potentially open up, but we've got the cloud support there, but that would be quite significant if we break there, and that could lead to further impetus on the downside. On the upside, we've got resistance coming in at 4,245. That's the all-time high, and it's blue skies above there. Asian Pacific, Aussie 200 commodity-based pair, bearish. On the 4-hour chart, this is bearish engulfing candle, so that looks pretty scary. If we get a break of 7,265, then that will open up an extended move lower, but then we believe support will come in at 7,210. China is still in this downward channel, so this is looking, it's retested. We posted a bullish hammer, and it's holding on, clinging on by its claws to the bottom of this cloud support. Between there's nothing really in terms of support really down until you get down to 17,661, so 300 ticks lower. Hang Seng, it's looking like nice for this head and shoulders formation. It's played out quite nicely. I did ignore this spike low in this candle, and it seems to have worked. We had a retest of the neckline, and looks like it's got potential to to move lower. Really need to see on the China 50 a break of the 28,631 support. And Nikkei, again, it managed to not recapture ground above this downward trending resistance and formed a shooting star. And again, a bearish outside candle is negative, and we're heading lower here as well. Will it continue? Don't know, because these indices always tend to bounce, but we are seeing sort of a lot of topping formations in there. Yeah, crypto, like we talked about yesterday, really the main thing we've done is broken out of this triangle formation. We talked about it, and the level of support we're looking at is 30,000. Talked about that for a long time. We did get down to this previous spike low here, just around about 31,100, and reacted really nicely from there. So again, it seems to be sort of clinging on for dear life at the moment, and has these sort of like supportive moves. Volume did pick up after we hit this 31,000. So there was obviously one of the big whales came in and supported their positions. But I still feel overall it's looking pretty ominous for the for Bitcoin. This is the head and shoulders formation. Again, the measured move target of that is negative 4,000, which it won't hit, I don't think. But yeah, on the upside, really, I think I was looking at a level. Actually, we can see on the hourly chart, we've just rejected the. Oh, this is interesting. We just rejected the hourly Ichimoku cloud, and forming. We have to wait until the end of this hour to form it, so 10 o'clock UK time, an evening star formation. Now that is a negative formation. As you can see here, it didn't post a negative formation here, so we've had this ABC D correction, AB equals CD correction, and that seems to have played out really nicely, and it sort of coincided with resistance here, 34,650. So for me, that is the level of watch. If we do break above, you've got 34,800, and also levels above there, resistance levels above there, 36,700. But yeah, for me, go to head challenge, I think everyone knows where I'm going.
Lovely. Disguised that well, Steve.
I didn't even see it. It's great.
No, fantastic roundup. Thank you very much. So I'm going to keep it very brief on the FX side of things, just because I don't think there's much worthy of discussion, to be honest. At the moment, it really is quite flat in the FX world. So dollar index to start with, as you can see, we broke out of this trend to the upside. We opened above the channel, so we broke it, we pushed higher, we came back pretty sharply, so we didn't get to spend much time above that, and haven't really kicked on. And in the last couple of days, you've just seen these sort of block candles which aren't really going anywhere, so it's really difficult to call. And obviously the dollar is pretty much a huge influence on the rest of the markets when it comes to currencies, and it's not doing an awful lot. So if we look at euro dollar, it's a similar sort of situation. We broke out of this channel, we had a nice impulsive move to the downside, and we've pretty much almost made all of it back. Yesterday was a bit of weakness, but today there's a bit of strength. Nothing really indicative from the volume indicators either. So just really a case of watching and waiting. So as I said yesterday, this could be maybe a bit of a flag pattern. So if we do get a decent break to the upside, we may actually see a continuation higher. The measured move of that would be taking a measurement from this low here to the high and projecting it higher from the break point if a flag is to emerge. So that would suggest some pretty decent upside actually on that. Let's just draw that and just see what it could potentially look at. So from the bottom of the flag to the top, and then from the breakout point, which is a bit subjective at the moment, but let's just say it would be there. Then we'd be looking at higher prices up at 127.56. That'd be highest prices on euro dollar, and we've got to go back some way to find out when that was last at those levels. We're going back to 2014. So quite interesting. Let's actually see if that marries up with a fib level, because that would be pretty spooky. Go to those highs there. I need to get a bit closer to refine that there. And does that work? Nothing on there. 61.8. No.
Yeah. Is it not 61? Oh no.
No, so it's just a bit above, but interesting that this big resistance level here from the 20th of Feb 2018 is actually in line with the 61.8. So that will
Yeah, I like that.
probably prove to be a pretty formidable barrier of
It's funny
resistance.
what I was going to say, Joe. When you sort of were drawing that sort of extended move, I normally take the extension from the low of the flag. So sort of that base, whether it was it 121.04. Normally, I sort of projected from there.
Okay,
I wonder if that fits better.
it
Well,
does
yeah,
actually.
it's
That
a bit
there,
closer. Yeah,
yeah. But
yeah,
I'm
nice one.
still not sort of giving up on the idea that this is actually happening as well. So maybe a head and shoulders top.
Yeah,
It really is sort of really difficult to call, and while we're sort of in no clear sort of technical setup, it's going to remain choppy, I think, and it's going to be really tough conditions.
yeah.
So let's have a look elsewhere. Anything interesting? So cable, that's obviously trading in a really nice uptrend at the moment, but trade in recent weeks has been pretty choppy, as you can see, stalling at this resistance level at 142.41. I've drawn this arrow on there because I'd like to see a nice little correction down to that level. We've got an unfilled gap actually that was created between these levels here on the 7th and 10th of May, and we've also got this uptrend coming in as well. So any pullback to here, I think, would represent a decent buying opportunity for, at the very least, to move back to these resistance levels at 42.41. Above that, then we can look for 43.76, which is the highest level that we've seen on that going back to, again, 2018. Euro sterling, not much has been happening here, as you can see over the last few days. Some real sort of indecisive looking doji-ish type candles have been forming. That's actually is that a gravestone doji there? I mean, obviously that typically comes at the top of a move, so I wouldn't read too much into that. Yeah, more chop, nothing going on, volume's flat. Let's have a look at some of the dollar markets. Dollar yen has been my favourite dollar play of late, just because I think it's trading in a nice uptrend, which obviously confirms how weak the yen has been. We seem to have found some support at that level yesterday, so maybe an opportunity to buy that up for a move to 110.96 to retest this resistance that was posted back in March. Let's have a look at some of the riskier assets. So New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar. We broke out of a bit of a wedge pattern last week, but we're back within those levels now. So I don't know if that's probably invalidated any pattern there, to be totally honest with you. So more chop, more sideways price action, more difficult trading conditions expected on that. And I guess it'll be a similar situation with Aussie, as you can see. Big impulsive move to the upside, recovered pretty much all of it. So some fake signals and a lot of chop without actually going anywhere. So be careful if you're trading these, because I just don't think they are the best at the moment. And there's probably better opportunities elsewhere.
Mm.
Okay, so gun to the head from yesterday. I was stopped out on Euro Oz. Steve, you had a 0.99R win on Bitcoin, so nicely done. And you have alluded to the fact that you'll probably be looking at Bitcoin again today. So if that's the case, I can see down here you've already got it lined up.
Yeah, I got it lined up, and I'm already offside, nearly stopped out, so
Well,
I can
you haven't
adjust it
traded
now.
it yet.
No,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. But yeah, I'm sort of going to go with this. It's a 14-to-1 shot. So, like, if you think about the Grand National, and you have a sort of like favourite, they're normally 14-to-1, aren't they? Or they used to be anyway in the good old days.
Yeah.
Normally, you get sort of like 5-to-1 co-favourites now. So yeah, the bookies don't give you anything. But anyway, so that's the sort of chances of this happening, 14-to-1. So it's a long shot. Just take it like that. But yeah, for me, this shooting star candle on the hourly chart is sort of marries up with my medium term idea that we're going to get back down to 20,000. I think a break of 30,000 for me is absolute panic stop, get me out mode for any leveraged sort of Bitcoin holders out there. They'll just be getting stopped out. And I think the danger of this break of 30,000 is increasing. Obviously, we had a nice sort of test getting down to 31,000, but it's managed to sort of like rally 3,000 points from there. Or $3,000 from there. But yeah, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to sell here. The levels it's coming up with, obviously the gun to the head, so I can't really strategize it too much. 34,253 spot 2. The target is 20,253 spot 2, and the stop is 35,253 spot 2. So I like to keep things round, but generally they're the areas I'm watching. So yeah, now that the postman's just been absolutely mullered. Yeah, so that's me, 14 to 1.
Wow. Okay.
You heard it here first, and second,
yeah.
and third, and fourth.
Brilliant. Okay, good luck. One of these days, one of those is going to pay off, and it'll be worthwhile, won't it?
Yeah.
That's a year's worth of gains in one go.
Yeah, exactly. All right, easy.
No, I'm just saying. Generally, anyone would be happy with a 14% win over a year, wouldn't they?
Oh, I think they would. Yeah.
Not obviously,
but they have to put up with listening to us every day, so maybe they won't be happy with that.
A lot of people obviously become accustomed to these sort of gains that you've seen in crypto world, and
yeah,
they're not obviously what you see every day. But right, this is FTSE 100, so very short-term chart. We've got a number of touch points here on what I'm drawing on as a decent uptrend line. Apologies, it's in red. It doesn't. If it's an uptrend, we're going to go with blue. So in the last few hours, you've seen a fairly significant dip off. We seem to have had a tiny bit of a reaction at this trend line support level. So that is good enough for me for an intraday opportunity here. I'm going to buy it at 7,055. I'm going to target a move back up to this sort of cluster of resistance levels around here. So let's just bring that in a bit lower, 7,115. And I'm going to put a stop loss below these lows that are posted in and around here. So just below there at 7,035. So looking for a nice 3-to-1 outcome on FTSE 100 today.
Brilliant.
That's it. What's going to move these markets? Well, we've got Bank of Canada rate decision at 3 p.m. No changes expected to the current 0.25% rates. And then at 3:30, we've got crude inventories. And given that oil is at 3-year highs and what's going on with talks over the Iran nuclear deal, I guess that will be fairly well watched. So keep an eye on that if you do have any positions in oil later today. Anything else, Steve?
No, that's all. That's it, mate.
Cool. All right, great. Well, everybody have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow morning, and until then, trade safe.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.